Okay, the next tool I want to show you is developing others. This is a fantastic tool and a fantastic way to think about training and developing those around you. Now, this process, it's a very simple tool, but could take years in truly developing people. We move people on the outside of the circle. We move them around the outside from unconscious incompetence, meaning they have no idea what they don't know, to conscious incompetence, meaning they are aware of the fact that they suck at something, the next step is moving into our conscious competence, right? Then we're moving into the framework of, I know I'm pretty good at this thing now. I can do this. And then we move into unconscious competence, which is we don't have to think about it anymore. We're just cruise control, nailing it. Okay. This is what happens. We use this all the time, whether you think about it or not. And we are really good at some of it, and we're really bad at some of it. And I've noticed this with my kids. Okay. And maybe you've noticed this with your kids too. All right. My kids are 8 and 10, and we're roasting vegetables on Sunday. And so I was doing some asparagus stuff, and I was like, hey, Tallulah, that's my daughter's name. Hey, Tallulah, go ahead and finish up the asparagus for me. Go ahead and roast that asparagus. And she was like, what? And I showed her how to break the asparagus and do all that stuff, but she still had to put it in the bowl and put the oil on and mix it around and put it on the pan and sprinkle with salt, put it in the oven, put the oven on 350. So she still had to do all that. Now, if I would just said, hey, Tallulah, go make the asparagus. Can you finish that up for me? I already set the oven. It's already good. Just, put oil on it, salt it, put it on the pan, put it in the oven. She kind of would have been like, I've seen Dad do this 100 times. This unconscious incompetence. I can do this, right? But then she comes in conscious incompetence. She starts doing it. She's like, oh, wait, how much oil? And hold on, I'm flipping this around, but asparagus is falling out. And wait, I put it on the pan, but do I spread them out and then put salt, or do I put salt on them? They start to feel insecure. They start to be aware that they don't fully know what's going on. Then sometimes they fall in the pit of despair. So if I just abandon her altogether and she's in the pit of despair, then she starts to doubt her competency. She starts to say, wow, maybe I'm not good at this. Maybe I'm just not going to care. Maybe I'm just not going to worry about it right now. I'm just not going to, and then what happens is that my son, who I've asked him to do something, he's in the pit of despair because I haven't really shown him how to do it. And him and Tallulah are down there. They're talking about the pit of despair and how they're not good at stuff and how they're not going to worry about it. And Dad doesn't really support us. He just kind of tells us to do things. And so there's this whole thing that happens with our kids all the time. And we notice it. I notice it with my kids. How much do we do this with our team as well? Do we bring them on for a new role? Okay. And they think, hey, I got this. I studied in school for this. I'm all over this. I got it. Then they go into conscious incompetence. They're like, whoa, wait a second. Maybe I don't know how to do this. And then they start to doubt themselves. The pit of despair is bad because what happens is that we as leaders, we also look at that pit of despair and we go, man, John is just not getting his work done. It's very frustrating. I brought him on. We showed him a few tools. He's supposed to be doing his job and he's just not getting it done. This is really annoying. So now I start to doubt John, and John's doubting himself. And then we're just doubting. And then we're like, nah, maybe it's not good for you. And they're like, yeah, maybe it's not. And then things happen. And then John leaves. He's like, yeah, that job sucked. And then that's a brand problem, right? Because John's now spreading the word about how bad this position was, not how bad the position was, how bad me as a leader, how bad I am, how bad the organization might be. There's all these things that happen as a result of that pit of despair. And then we go into conscious competence. If we get them around that corner, if we have trained them and shown them and helped them, then they start to feel confident. Then they start to feel like, yeah, I got this. And then the glory comes, right? Where it's the unconscious incompetent. And again, that could take years to get them to that point, but that's what we want to get them to. So unconscious incompetence is me as a leader. I say, I do, you watch, okay? Some of us are really good at that. I do, you watch, okay? Just watch me. And then we get to I do and you help. Now we're like, okay, you got this. I'm going to be here. You help me with this task. Let's do this together. I'm going to show you how to do it, but I want you to do some of it too. Okay. Then they feel like we're holding their hand through the process. Then we get the you do and I help. So you're going to do it. I'm going to sit in the back seat. I'm going to be here. You got this. Okay. I've trained you. You've helped me. You got this. And then you do, I watch. This is the glory days for a leader, right? Where you're just like hands off. You got this. I'm out. You know, I can focus on building the business. I can focus on my tasks. I feel confident in your abilities. I trust you. And that is a beautiful, beautiful thing to feel that trust. And then we kind of go in the circle over and over again. So I do, you watch. I do, you help. A lot of us go from I do, you watch to cool, you got this. All right, I did it. You saw how I did that, right? Cool, see ya. And then we're out. And then they're like, I guess. And then they fall in the pit of despair. Or you could almost say we pushed them into the pit of despair. We were like, you're out, right? And they fall down the pit of despair. That's a problem. Let's talk about what they do once they're in the pit of despair. If they do fall in the pit of despair, if you have people right now in the pit of despair, they're down in a hole, they're feeling bad about themselves, you're feeling bad about them because they aren't getting their job done and accomplishing what they need to. They need three things. They need time, both informal and formal time. Informal time, right? Let's just sit around. Hey, how things going? How's your family? Whatever that is. Formal time is actually planned time to have a one-on-one, to go out to lunch, to do something. They need time. Vision, they need both short-term and long-term vision. They need to understand what you're trying to accomplish now and in the future to make sure that they're aligned with that thing, to make sure that they can accomplish that thing, make sure that they are aware of your expectations. Encouragement, specific and non-generic, okay? Specific, non-generic. Encouragement does not look like this. Hey, good job, right? It looks like this. Hey, in that meeting that we were just in, I really liked how you brought up that point about that thing, okay? That is specific encouragement, and that's what people need to get out of the pit of despair, because then they start to feel consciously competent about their job and the things that they're bringing to the table.